want to give a proper introduction to Michael. Thanks again for helping. And he's going to be our yoga guide today. I'm so happy that he could volunteer, and Nedra, his model, who I've worked with personally, who I know is fantastic as a healer and a human being. And I really have seen yoga be super beneficial. My aunt, she has HD currently, and when she first started into the middle stages, you know, she was recommended yoga, and it helped her with her balance. It helped her with her mindfulness. It helped her just find peace. I try to practice as often as I can. My good friend Tanya does yoga super early, so unfortunately I'm not able to join her as frequently as I would like. But when I start waking up at 5 a.m. on a daily basis, I do want to try the Bikram because it sounds really cool. And this is obviously meant for everyone, and it's a great way to get ready for your day, the week ahead. Michael will go into that more, but again, just thank you guys for being here. Also, remember that we are having our walk on November 22nd. So that's going to be kind of the same virtual vibe as this. It's going to be a Zoom call at 2 p.m. There's still time to register for that. If you can get your team together and then spread the word with your colleagues, your family, your friends, it's going to be really cool. So walk across the state wherever you are, send us pictures. You can find pretty much all the information on my Facebook page, but there's also the Southeast region of HDSA, HDSA.org, and you can find South Florida. Click on that link and it'll list all the events that we're doing. This is South Florida's first virtual yoga event, but I hope there's going to be many more, and I hope that we can all get together in the future. But until then, thank you for your support online. Thank you to HDSA for allowing us these platforms to help raise awareness and to share with our friends and our family, our commitment to helping in any way that we can. And I'm a true believer, yoga is a great way for anyone. If you are impacted by HD yourself, if you're a caregiver, if you're a friend, if you're part of a support system, it has so many benefits. So if you guys have any questions during, this whole session, please, you can use that chat on the bottom. You'll find the chat, type a question. We'd be happy to do a Q&A at the end. And then, if not, if you can't make the whole thing, that's okay. We'll also send this recording out to you via email. So please share with your friends and enjoy this time. And I will turn it over to Michael.
All right. Thank you, Jamie. Thank you for having me here. So I thought today, because it's a first class with a group, that we would do a more of an orientation kind of a class. And I want to introduce a 5-step process to approaching yoga. And in Kripalu Yoga, where I'm certified from, an acronym is used. It's called BRFWA, B-R-F-W-A. And it stands for breathe, relax, feel, watch, and then allow. And it's a process. It's a system in which to confront the poses, and you can extrapolate that out. And in dealing with, like, for example, my illness, I have type 1 diabetes since age 14. It's been invaluable, the yoga and the process of confronting what I need to do on a daily basis to stay here, as far as my work goes. So I've sectioned the class into 5 different phases and to match up with BRFWA, and I will compare some other ways of looking at each stage as we go through. So the first stage, or the first step in the process, is breathe. And we're going to start by standing up. And this is Nedra. Nedra is my model for today. And I'm going to demonstrate mountain pose. So in mountain pose, I'm going to start by separating the feet about hip width apart. Good. Now there's 4 points in the foot, 2 in the ball of the feet and 2 in the heel. So ground those points into the mat. You can rock from side to side. Right. Forward and backwards a little bit. And the word yoga means union. And what we're really working on first is creating union between the body and the mind. And yoga is just as much mental, if not more mental, when you start practicing than the physical aspect of it. And so bring your attention down from your feet up into your ankles and then up into the knees. And the knees are slightly bent. Yet you're pulling up on the thighs. You're engaging the thighs. And now we're going to bring our awareness up into the pelvic area. And we're going to start by exploring and sticking the tailbone out and noticing what happens when you stick the tailbone out with the spine. And then from here, we're going to tuck the tailbone under and feel the spine lengthening up. And then bring the awareness into the core. Pull up through the core a bit. Bring the shoulders back so the shoulder blades in the back come to touch. The arms are at the side. Chin is parallel to the floor. And then imagine that there's a string at the top of your head pulling you up towards the ceiling. So this is mountain pose. This is a good pose to establish when you're doing any kind of standing yoga poses. And then from here, we're going to connect with the breathing. So to connect to the breathing, first just become aware of the breathing, that you're inhaling and that you're exhaling. And then begin to deepen the breathing. And then we're going to employ what's called the 3-part breathing. Start by breathing into the stomach, and then you expand up into the chest, and then up into the shoulders, and then exhale. Throughout the class, throughout any yoga class, you always want to stay connected to the breathing. I often use the term the pendulum breathing. So as you breathe in, get full, and then at the top of the inhale, hold it for a pause, like you're holding the pendulum at that top of the swing on the right. And then exhale. And on the exhale, get empty at the exhale. All the way empty, even pull in through the core a little bit. And stay empty at the end of the exhale. From mountain, we can explore a couple other poses. You can take the arms straight out. So good alignment, first stage of Kripalu Yoga is proper alignment. Proper alignment here is the feet are parallel to each other. The tailbone's tucked under. You're pulling up through the core. The chin is parallel to the floor. The arms are straight out. The hands are in direct alignment with the shoulders. Chin is up. And now we're going to sit down a little bit. And we're going to sit about 3/4 or a quarter of the way down. Imagine that you have a bar stool in back of you. So you're just going to come down just a little bit. You can even bounce a little bit as you work into this posture. Keep the arms straight out. Keep the arms activated. Keep the fingers together. Good. Slowly come on up. Keep the arms there. And now we're going to explore a little further. The second stage of yoga, never go past your edge. So once you get to your edge, you stop. You don't always have to go into full posture. But chair pose, you come all the way down like you're sitting into a chair, right? When you come into chair pose, you stick the tailbone out, and then you try and bring the back against the back of the chair. Good work. Bounce a little bit. Good. Come on back up. Let the arms come down. Moving into mountain pose. So this first stage in the Brithwa process, in confronting a process, can also compare it to the growth process. I've written about the growth process on my website. Or it's a process of confronting things. So what are we trying to accomplish? What are we confronting? What are we looking at? So inhale, bring the arms up. Now see if you can interlock fingers and release thumbs. So the index fingers go straight up. So you cross thumbs, index fingers straight up. And then here you want to try and bring the arms back behind the ears. Get nice straight arms, chin parallel to the floor. Now, good alignment and where we're going to go is you want to stay facing where you're facing. So shoulders and hips stay facing where you're facing. You're going to reach up in the inhale and slowly come over to the right on the exhale, creating a half moon posture. This posture is called half moon. Doesn't matter how far you go, especially if this is your first yoga. You want to always never go past your edge. Inhale, come on up. Keep reaching up through the shoulders, through the elbows, and then inhale, and then come on over to the left. Good. Inhale, come on up. Release arms, moving into mountain pose. Just standing here in mountain pose. Stage one, connecting to the breathing, proper confrontation, how you want to confront what the issue is, what the posture is. You know, I went to Kripalu teacher training. I told one of the teachers I had type 1 diabetes. She said, well, that's a yoga pose. I mean, the yoga pose is anything that you're dealing with outside of off the mat. So this is step one. Step two, relax. Yet step two also in the growth process is exploration. And from here, we're going to step back with the right foot about 4 feet, 3.5, 4 feet. So you want to step back with the right foot. Big step. Now the right heel is at a 45-degree angle. And proper alignment, the heels are lined up. If you drew a line between the left heel and the right heel, you would have a straight line. Good. So once we've lined up with what we want to confront, how are we going to go about this? And for this particular phase two of the process, I've chosen a pose called warrior posture. So in warrior posture, first, legs are straight and you're pulling up through the legs, especially the inner thighs, the inner legs. You're pulling up and you're getting a nice foundation with straight legs. Good. Now let's turn the right hip forward. So the hips are facing where you're facing and the shoulders are facing where you're facing. Good. Inhale, bring the arms up. Just straight arms. And now we're going to begin to bend into the left knee. All right. Now you want to find your edge. You don't want to go past your edge. This is warrior posture. Now, ultimately, where you want to be is that left thigh is parallel to the mat. But you may not get there right away. That's where you're going towards. And you never want the left knee to go past the ankle bone. Once you've established a warrior pose, you can start to sink down into the hips a little bit. Good work. So you can move into warrior two. Warrior two, you bring the left hand forward, the right hand back, and you open up the right hip. So the hips open up to the side. And you can see, you can get down into the hips maybe a little better in warrior two. Good job. From here, straighten up the left leg. Bring the arms down. And then bring the right foot up to meet the left. Mountain pose. So mountain pose can either be feet separated, hip width apart, or feet together. Let's bring the left leg back so we create symmetry. About 3.5, 4 feet. If you're more flexible, it's probably a narrower step. If you're less flexible, probably a bigger step. Good. Bring the arms up, parallel to each other. Bend into the right knee. Find your personal edge. Doesn't matter how far you go. Doesn't matter if you get to the final posture. What matters most is that you're in right alignment and that you're discovering your edge and you're exploring your edge. And once you practice yoga, you do it every day or you do it often, you start seeing results. And now we'll switch into warrior two. So the right arm comes forward, the left arm comes back. The hip opens up. Good work. Slowly come on back up. Arms down, left foot meets the right. Good work. Again, right foot back about 4 feet. The foot's planted at about 45 degrees. Turn the right hip forward. This time, reach behind. See if you can interlock fingers. Bring the palms together and squeeze the hands together. The back shoulder blades touch, right? Now you open up the heart, open up the throat. Let the weight of the head go back. Squeeze the hands together. The legs are nice and strong and straight, creating a nice firm base. Open up the heart, open the throat. This is called stargazer. Keep squeezing the hands together. You're going to love the release on this. Keep squeezing the hands together. Good. Now release and let the arms rise above you into prayer. Just prayer, just cross thumbs here. Reach up, tuck the chin, suck in the belly, and then round over like you're rounding over a barrel. You can bend the left knee as much as you need to. Bring the hands to the floor, and you want to try and get your forehead to contact the knee. Now, in order to do this, you can bend the right knee as much as possible. This is not a stretching pose. This is more of a compression pose. Tuck the chin. This is really good for those of us with immune deficiency challenges, working in the thyroid, thymus. Pull up. Try and get forehead onto the knee. Good. Release, hands into prayer. Come all the way up. Bring the arms down. Bring the right foot up to meet the left. Mountain pose. Establish a nice mountain pose. Complete stillness. This is the magic of yoga in between the poses. Good. Let's take the left foot back this time about 4 feet. Turn the left hip forward. Reach behind, interlock fingers. Bring palms together. Nice strong grip. Open up the heart, open up the throat. Let the weight of the head go back. Stargazer on this side. Good job. Release. Let the hands go up into prayer. Cross thumbs. Reach up first. Tuck the chin. Tuck the chin, getting nice compression. Suck in the belly, pull up the core, and then round over. You can bend the right knee as much as you need to bring forehead contact with the knee. You can see Nedra doesn't need to bend her knee, but the rest of us do probably. Nice work. So release, hands in prayer. Come all the way up. Hands come down. Left foot comes up to meet the right. Good. Come back to the top of the mat. Good job. So we'll move into phase 3, which in the Brithwa cycle is to feel. And another way of looking at this map, it's to It's to incubate. I'll get more into that later or after the class. But we're going to inhale, bring the arms up. Exhale, bend the knees to protect the lower back and come on down to forward bend. So you can bend the knees and forward bend as much as you need to. In forward bend, you want to get your stomach onto the thighs. Release the head down towards the shins. Doesn't matter how much your knees are bent in forward bend. Once you're here, you can begin to straighten the legs without losing contact with the stomach onto the thighs. Inhale, look up. Exhale, right leg goes back into what's called lunge. So right leg goes back far, about 3 or 4 feet, 4 feet. Good. And then we're going to bring the left leg back into what's called downward dog. Good work. So downward dog, fingers are wide, trying to get the heels down on the floor. Now, I know downward dog is a very challenging posture for some people. You can always work from your knees here if this is too much. Good. We're going to come down to the knees and we're going to establish tabletop. So tabletop, hands are right underneath the shoulders. Fingers are wide to create a nice base. Knees are right underneath the hips. Good. So in this third phase of the process, we're connecting to feeling, connecting to what we feel. We're going deeper. We're going into our emotional self. And to do this, we work within the hips. So we're going to take the right leg back a little bit, and we're going to move into what's called pigeon or swan. So you bring the right leg back and then swing the right leg forward. And get like a 45-degree angle with the shin. You can see Nedge right here if you want to look good. Now there's a modification pose for this. If you can't get into this, you come into what's called deer, where you just bring the left leg out. And that takes some of the pressure off. But if you can stay in pigeon, or some people call it swan, you bring the left knee back as far as you can, right? You're getting a nice stretch in the hips. So there's what's called waking swan. So waking swan, we're up high. And then if you want to come down into sleeping swan, you bring the hands forward. And if you have a prop, if you have a block or a cushion, you can use that. Or some people just come all the way down. Bring the head down. Reconnect to the breathing. Slow inhales, slow exhales. Anytime you're working in the hips, you're working usually with stuck energy, especially in the emotional self. So anytime you're working in the hips, as you're breathing, you're becoming aware of what you're feeling, not just physically, but emotionally. And then as you inhale, you allow the body to expand. You actually can bring oxygen molecules into those areas that are tight. Hold the inhale, so you allow those oxygen molecules to do their work. And then as you exhale, you think detox. You let go, soften in those areas. This is a great Yin posture. It's usually held for a long period of time, and it gets into connective tissue that tends to harden up as we get older. That's why yoga is so good for people who are older or getting older, is it keeps the connective tissue supple. It brings synovial fluid into the connective tissue. But anytime you're working with connective tissue, you want to be careful. You want to come out nice and slow. So slowly come on back up into waking. Good. And then push up into tabletop. And let's do the other side. So left leg goes back and swing it through into Pigeon, Swan. You see she's bringing the right leg back as far as she can so she can get a nice stretch. Good alignment. You want to square up the hips and the shoulders first. And then you find your own personal edge. Come on down to wherever you want to go. So the work I do, the work I've been doing over the last 6 months with the group that I've been doing Zoom yoga, meditation, and what I call map questing sessions, we use the yoga as a way to process through this 5-step process. And there are many different maps. There are many different ways of looking at this 5-step process. You could look at it like the growth process, where the first step is the seed level. The second step are the roots. The third step that we're in right now is the trunk, right? And then the fourth step are the branches and leaves. And then the fifth and final step is the blossoms and the fruit. That's one way of looking at it. Everything goes through this kind of 5-step cycle that arises in our world. Good. Slowly come on back up. Good. And then we're going to come back into tabletop. And now we're moving into the 4th phase, which is to become the witness or to watch. This is really the object of yoga. The first 3 phases, or the first 3 steps, we're cycling through so we can get to this step. And for this, we're going to work into the spine. So we're going to flatten out onto our stomach. And the first pose we're going to do is called Cobra. And to do Cobra, you bring your hands deep underneath the shoulders. And you want to get your elbows nice and tight next to the body. Good. Now, the next thing you want to do is create what's called a cobra tail with your legs. So bring the heels and big toes together, and then engage the legs so much that the knees come off the floor. So the top of the feet stay on the floor, but your legs are engaged so that the knees come off the floor. Start with the chin on the floor. Inhale, and then come on up. So you keep your elbows nice and tight. You keep your hands on the floor, and then you're using your lower back strength to come up. Now open up the heart, open up the throat, look up to the ceiling. Where the eyes go, the body's going to follow. Don't go past your edge. Harder to breathe in this posture. So we do what's called the 80-20 breathing. Breathe in a little bit. Keep 80% in, breathe out. Nice, now release. Bring the right ear to the floor, the arms to the side of the body, palms up, let go. Really the magic of yoga, again, is the in-between the postures, the stillness. Because what's happening in a yoga posture, you're shutting off or closing off blood flow, energy to certain parts of the body. And then when you release, all that floods back in. Second posture I want to show you is full locust. So with full locust, the arms go out like airplane wings. Establish a nice cobra tail again with your legs. Good. Start with the chin on the floor. Inhale, everything comes up. Chest comes up, legs come up, thighs come up, everything comes up. The arms go back a little bit. You open up the heart, open up the throat. Look up towards the ceiling. Keep breathing, little sips of air if you need to. You can always come up a little more. Reach up. Exhale, come on down. Right ear to the floor. Arms to the side of the body. palms up, let go. In the Bikram series, all the postures lead up to this, what they call the spine strengthening series. For like an hour, you're in 110-degree heat. You're standing, you're doing what's the standing postures. And then you finally get to the floor, you do a couple postures and you get into these spine strengthening postures. Tremendous benefit in Bikram yoga. I recommend it for everyone for at least 30 days. 30 days every day. It's called the 30-day challenge. Very confrontational. Good. The next posture I want to show you is called Sphinx. So in Sphinx, the elbows are right underneath the shoulders now, and the hands are straight out, palms are down. Now the feet are separated in this posture about hip width apart, or mat width apart, a little wider. Yeah. And now you can bring the inside ankle bones down. This opens up the hips. You can check that out. You don't have to do it. Good. Now, you allow a little bit of a back bend in the spine and lift the head up. Now, there's a couple different ways to work in this posture. One is you can tuck the chin, but you're still bringing the shoulders back. It's almost like you're pulling the elbows back without moving them, and then bringing the shoulder blades in the back together while continually tucking the chin. Activating thymus, working thyroid. And the other way is to bring the head up and work from there. Again, you want to keep the shoulders nice and broad. The shoulder blades in the back are trying to touch. The hands are kind of pulling back. The elbows are pulling back. Good, and then release. Left ear on the floor, arms to the side. Let go. Good job. So push off with the hands. Come on up to tabletop and then turn around onto your back into what's called Shavasana. Shavasana, start with the heels together. Arms are close to the body, palms up. Chin is slightly tucked to allow the spine to flatten out on the mat. Shavasana means corpse pose. So the idea in Shavasana is to be completely still. You'll go to some yoga classes and they'll say Shavasana is the hardest posture there is. No, it's pretty easy actually. Actually, it's both. So this is the fifth phase in the process that we're using to introduce yoga. And in the fifth phase, in the Brithwa analogy, it stands for allow. The idea is if you've done the other four postures, you now allow the prana energy to move through. You're kind of getting out of the way. So we're going to do a posture called wind removing posture. And the way we do this, bring the right knee up and interlock fingers over top of the knee. You want to get a nice tight grip, thumbs included, over top of the right knee. And then bring the knee out to the right just a little bit to avoid the hip. Good. And then squeeze. So this is a compression pose. Couple things to check for right alignment. You want your chin tucked a little bit, looking down the body, back of the head on the floor. Make sure that the left leg is nice and flat on the floor. And then broaden the shoulders so the shoulders, back of the shoulders are on the floor. And then squeeze. So when you're in this posture, use the breathing. As you inhale, let the belly expand, enhancing the compression. And then as you exhale, you create space and you can pull in a little more. So compressing liver and ascending colon in this posture. This is a posture you can do every day without warm up. Great posture for digestion and elimination. Keeps things moving. Good, release the right knee. Let the leg come down. And then bring the left knee up. Interlock fingers over top of the knee. Get a nice tight grip, thumbs included. Bring the knee out to the left just a bit. And then squeeze. So this is compression of the left side, spleen, and descending colon. You always want to do the right side first because that's ascending, and then left side, descending. Use the breathing. Let the belly expand on the inhale. And then as you exhale, you create space and you can pull in a little bit. Good work. So release the left knee, let the leg come down. As soon as it hits the floor, bring both knees up. Now here, see if you can wrap arms around the knees. See if you can grab opposite elbows. If you can't grab opposite elbows, grab forearms, grab wrists, or grab whatever you can grab. Good. So the knees are together, the feet are together. There's no crossing of the feet. The chin is slightly tucked, creating a nice flat neck onto the mat. Eventually the whole spine is flattened onto the mat. And then squeeze. So this is compression of transverse colon. Good work. Release the knees, let the legs come down. Bring both feet to the mat. Separate the feet about hip width apart. And then bring the arms out like airplane wings. Good. And carefully let the knees fall out to the right and then swing them back out to the left. So it's right, left. This allows the lower spine to loosen up a bit. And then when they happen to go over to the right again, let them fall all the way over to the right. And then we're going to look over to the left hand. Spine twist. Most yoga classes end with a spine twist. It's kind of like squeezing out the mop at the end of using the mop, you know. Stay with the breathing as you inhale. Let the whole back expand. Sometimes you can feel a little pop in one of the vertebrae if you do this. You can actually use the breathing. So as you inhale, the whole back expands, and then as you exhale, you create space. Allow the posture to deepen. And again, most of yoga is mental. So you want to connect the mind with what we're doing physically with the body. Use your imagination. Once you've discovered your edge with the physical body, you can always let the mind go a little deeper. Good work. So look up to the ceiling, bring the knees up, let the knees fall out to the left, and then look over towards the right. Good work. Look up to the ceiling. Bring the knees up. And then set up for what we call final Shavasana. Final Shavasana, we just take a couple minutes. Stay in final in Shavasana. Allow all the work that we've done to integrate. Final Shavasana, stillness. And so one of the things, and I know firsthand, I don't know the Huntington chorea disease as well as I know the diabetes, and the type 1 diabetes is a highly misunderstood condition. It's insidious. It's something that you have to be on 24/7. And the sword of Damocles is always over your head with the possible complications and everything. So I'm constantly confronting the issue of living with type 1 diabetes. And as such, I'm constantly, or at least for the most part of my life, gone through what we know is the grief process. Happens to be a 5-step process too. And what I've noticed over the last several months is that we're all going through life is a grief process. Everything that arises is bound to pass away. That's the deep wisdom of the Buddha. The Buddha said that the root of all suffering, and that's what grief is, right? 'Cause grief is just suffering. We're not getting what we want or getting what we don't want. But the root of all suffering is ignorance of the nature of impermanence. Everything that arises is bound to pass away. And so if you look at the 5 stages of the grief process, it matches up with the 5 processes we just went over today. Step 1 is all about, step 1 in the grief process is denial. So instead of denial, we get into our mountain pose. And we establish quality confrontation with it. We're willing to look at it. We're willing to stand up against it. And then step 2 in the grief process is anger. Okay, you can be angry, but let's go in with that energy as a warrior. Let's have the attitude of warrior. And then step 3 in the process is depression. Well, instead of depression, we're going to work in the hips. We're going to work in Swan and Pigeon. We're going to open up the hips. We're going to connect to and get that feeling, those feelings of depression to move at least, And then step 4 is called bargaining. Okay, if we're going to negotiate, let's get the spine strong. We're going to negotiate. We're going to bargain from a place of strength. And then step 5 is acceptance. Here we are. Final Shavasana. Allowing the prana to move through. And so to transition back from our yoga practice, I always like to do what's called alternate side breathing. So again, most of this is with the mind, but we always start on the left side. So we're going to breathe in through the left side of the body, the left nostril, filling up the left hemisphere of the brain. Take a deep inhale through the left side and then hold it at the top. And then exhale through the right side. Let it all go through the right nostril, right side of the body. Get empty at the bottom of the exhale. Stay empty. And then inhale through the right side. Expanding the whole right side of the body, right hemisphere of the brain. Hold it at the top. And then exhale through the left side. Get empty. Get it all out. Pull in through the core a little bit to get all the air out at the end. Inhale through the left. Big inhale. Hold it. Exhale through the right. Get empty. Inhale through the right. Biggest inhale of the class so far. Expanding the whole right side. Hold it at the top. And release through the left. Good work. Bring both feet to the mat. Roll over onto the right side of the body. Use your hands to come on up to sitting posture. So sitting posture, you want to get up on your sit bones, want to pull up through the core. Shoulder blades in the back touch. Chin is parallel to the floor. Namaste. Good work.
Can you guys see me okay? Oh, Michael, thank you so much. Namaste. Nedra, thank you. I love that last part, the spinal twist. I feel like that resonates so much because there's so much to just release and get out, especially after going through those specific stages.
Good.
So that was incredible. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. That was amazing. I am so excited that everyone else, you know, we had a great amount of participants register, and this is going to get emailed to all of them, and that's cool because then they're going to be able to do it on their own time, and it definitely, you know, sat with me pretty heavily. And I know with everything you've been through with diabetes and, you know, just everyone, we all have our family issues. We all have everything, daily life. And, you know, like I said, that last final twist, that release, and it just gives me hope for the future. And it gives me hope that we can all continue to, you know, decompress and be healthy and be mindful, and I don't know, for everyone. But for me, you know, when Michael talks about going to your edge and having your personal edge, I think that's another incredible lesson that we can take into our daily lives, because we all do have those edges, whether you're, you know, facing HD or in a support system, you know, caregiver, whatever it is. Even if, you know, HD doesn't affect you, we can all take those lessons. So again, Michael, thank you. Can we give Michael a round of applause? Everyone on the call.
Very good. Thank you so much.
Thank you for joining us, Olivia.
Thank you.
Hope you enjoyed it.
Thank you. I did.
Does anyone have any questions for Michael before we go? If you guys want to learn more about him, his website is choicetimes.com. And Michael, if you want to say anything more about how they can maybe find you, if they have any specific questions or want to enroll in some of your classes.
Yeah, I mean, I've been doing the Zoom class with a private group for the last 6 months. We have about 15 or 20 of us at any given time. And yeah, I'm looking to create more groups going forward via Zoom. And I think, you know, it's more than yoga. It's the yoga we use to process through the phases. What I think is real valuable, the most valuable thing, is the meditation that we're learning about. In yoga, we just do yoga so we can sit in meditation, but also what I call map questing. You know, going through these processes, because we're all in a pose. We're all in a yoga pose, It's just a matter of how you look at it. And so all this work is to accelerate the process. So, yeah, choice times, or you can send in my email if you want when you send the recording. I've been working on my email, on my website to try and reflect what I want to do in the future. So we'll see. Yeah.
Cool.
Thanks
And
for-
yeah, I mean, if you guys want to get involved with anything else, we do, we try to do these like cool events as much as we can, especially during 2020. If you want to volunteer and get involved in our walk, let me know. Or if you just have any ideas, because, you know, Michael, I've learned so much from you today, and everyone has talent. So if you guys know anyone that thinks they might have something to offer to our community, I'd love to partner with you. I'd love to brainstorm with you. There are a lot of different therapies out there, whether it be through yoga or anything else. And Michael, Nedra, thank you again. Thank you, thank you, thank you. You guys all have a wonderful Sunday afternoon. Thank you for joining us. And like I said, if you have any questions or want to get involved, let me know. And yeah, blessings to everyone.